So this might be a little long, but I needed to share this story. I didn't know how to honor my friend um, the proper way. I didn't want to just post. I didn't want to, I chose an industry that is not easy, but I love what I do. And I woke up. I woke up and my phone was just blowing up. I got a message from a radio station, K-Hits, the owner in Alaska, and she was thanking me for having Brad cut some spots for her radio station. And I thought she was talking about the upcoming shows that I'm doing, and I was thrown. I didn't know what was going on. And then I realized I get a message from Ben and Randy Couture. It was Randy apologizing because the world lost a legend today. Brad Arnold from Three Doors Down. And he's my friend, our friend. And there's so many stories and so much history I have with him, and somebody who believed in me and believed in what I do and my choices of doing it. And I'm gonna back this up. I'm gonna back this up because he and I laughed about this when social media was like pretty new. Instagram was new. I think, if it wasn't for my friends in the industry that were showing me how to these pictures and things, and Instagram was a new thing. And I bought this CD of Three Doors Down live, and there was a moment in Kryptonite where he would have the crowd sing. Brad would get them to sing. It gave me chills, and I was on the Stairmaster, and I said, I want that moment. I want my music to connect like that. And I thought to myself, where was Brad when he wrote that song? I wanted to know. And I just reached out on social media to him. And a few times, each time that it affected me, and he hit me back one time and he said, thank you, my friend. Thank you. I needed to hear that message today, kind of thing. And then flash forward, and I'm like, wow, he hit me back. And flash forward, and that was about, I want to say 12, I was longer than that, like maybe 12, 13 years ago. And then flash forward, Ben and I, and Randy Couture, Randy joins us, and we got to open up, Ben and I got to open up for Three Doors Down on their acoustic tour. And it was their first show here in Las Vegas, and we didn't live here. We got added to the show. And Brad approached us afterwards and said, hey, we don't have an opener on this tour. Do you guys think you want to go? And would you come open up for us? And I'm sitting here getting to meet one of my heroes, the guys I look up to, and everybody was just so pro and so just amazing. And we didn't get to go on the tour. Ben was in Lifehouse, and there were things that were getting in the way, and we didn't get to go. So, but it started a friendship with Brad, and he invited Ben and I to a show here in Vegas, and we came to watch them play, and they were doing this big, like for veterans show. And that's the one thing, Brad, he was God, family, and country. And he stood on those grounds, and he was always so grateful. And he would always thank you. He was like, thank you, my friends, with his accent after like just about every song, it seemed like. he was just so grateful to be there, but such a great front man. And I was taking pictures and things, and I remember my moment. I was in the dressing room with them, and my buddies were just about to take the stage otherwise, and I'm watching them and bouncing back and forth, but I'm having a moment because I said, you know, that tour we didn't get to go on with you, we're available now. If it ever comes up again, please keep us in mind. And both Brad and Chris, they looked at me and said, yeah, we'll do that, Brian. And then I hear my name, Be Up. And the band otherwise, they called me out to sing one of their songs with them. And Brad's like, go. So I did. Maybe 6 months later, I get a message from him. And he's like, hey, Brian, you want to go out on tour with us? We're starting a tour in January of 2018. And just all the stars aligned. If it wasn't for Chuck Capello, who's a brother to me, he bought us a bus, and we had this dream team. My sister Buffy, Sweater Vest Kev, and Jerry Berry, Matt Morgan, Shovelhead, our driver, Ben, myself. I'm just so shocked right now. I'm trying to remember everyone. But we went out on the road with Three Doors Down on their acoustic tour. And it was so special because it started in my hometown of Salem, Oregon. And I went up to Brad and I said, you know, I fell in love with music as a kid, coming to movies and being entertained in this theater. And now we're playing here. We're starting off this tour in Salem, Oregon, in my hometown. And like the love of leather jackets and just that whole vibe came from watching Grease in that movie theater as a kid. And so here I am getting to play there, and I have video, I have all these memories. My phone is full of all this stuff, and none of it, if I posted any of it, it wasn't gonna be enough or share this kind of human, this guy, this talent, this person. And he said, yeah, let's have fun on this, you know? And so about 3 days into the run, you know, here's what would happen. And I tell this story a lot, but Brad, we would perform, then 5 minutes, I'd say, I'm gonna be down at the merch table in 5 minutes. And I have a phone full of hundreds of people, hundreds, like around our merch table, and my sister Buff and stuff, she's running the table, and it's just packed. And then the light would flick the lights, which meant Three Doors Down was coming out on stage. And I would tell the people that were still there, there'd be maybe 60, 70, 100 people still in line. And I'd say, hey, I'll come back when the show's over. Ben and I will be back at the table, and we'll take pictures, whatever it is, you know, sign anything you bought and whatever. And after day 3, I get a knock on the bus, and it's Brad. He's like, hey, Brian, you got a second? Can we talk? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, look, you know, I found out that you're sending people away from the merch table because we're playing. And I said, yeah, I just want to respect your team and you guys, and it's such an incredible gift that you gave me and us to be able to do this with you. I don't want any disrespect. And he said, Brian, these are our fans. These are sold out shows. Don't turn them away. Don't turn them away. If they want to miss a song or 2 or 3, that's their choice. They bought the ticket. They knew they were here to see us. They discovered you. I found you. And I want them to become your fans too. So don't turn them away. So the rest of the tour, I was just looking at him going, what? Thank you. He said, yeah, it was just an amazing thing. And it was like this open conversation with him on this entire run. If I had questions or anything, and that was after the third day on the tour. Then we would always just, even though they were our friends, everyone on it, Chet and Chet joined us on stage every night after about the third or fourth show. It was, I'm sorry, I'm just reflecting on this. I have so many stories with these guys, and I just feel bad for the band. That's a brother to them. We lost a legend today, and I know he's like everywhere. I lost my brother, so I know today I was dreaming. My brother was in my dream, and maybe my brother was comforting me or keeping me asleep so I wouldn't have to wake up to this or prepare me for losing another friend. But I'm just trying to remember some of these moments. Like, I remember seeing a big bag of gummy bears, Haribo gummy bears, on the side of the stage when he played, and our bus was full of them. And I use gummy bears for my voice and the Haribo ones. And he's like, yeah, I got that too. And he talked about he and Chris Daughtry sharing this, and he said, have you had the tea, Brian? We were at lunch one day. Like I said, we were very respectful and around them, but we would not want to be in their space or whatever, even though we were all friends. And they would invite us. He would invite us in and come sit with us and come eat with us and come be a part of this family on this tour. And he asked Mandy, who worked with him on the team and who I love dearly to this day, he's like, hey, will you make Brian a tea? And he told me how this gummy bear tea, just water and the gummy bears melted, he'd sip on it all day, just revived his voice. And days that, it was as a singer, you struggle. So she would make me this tea, and he'd get his tea and I'd get my tea from her, and then we'd just be sucking on gummy bears all day. And they always looked out for us. Between he and Mandy and everyone, our bus was full of the leftover food, and they would divide that up with us. And we're not on a label, and we're out with them. And every night I would watch him perform. Every night I would do the show, and then I would go out and I'd watch him just lead a master class in being a front man and sharing his stories. And then every now and then I'd ask him, where were you when you wrote that song? What were you thinking about? What does that song mean to you now? Because as a songwriter, they take these journeys with you, and you meet somebody or something goes on in your life and they tell you a story. Now it alters the way you think about the song that you wrote. And so we shared those stories as we'd be getting cleaned up and getting back on the bus and going out. And I remember it's around this time, February 10th was the greatest day for me. I was in a relationship that hadn't started yet until February 10th, 2018. And I was able to tell this person how I felt about her, and she'd flown out, and we're in Chicago, and everybody knew. He did too. And he's like, how'd it go? And I'm like, I got to tell her how I felt, and she did too. And we're in Joliet, Illinois, and it was so special. And this was February 10th, and I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, we're gonna give Maddie, who was like a roadie and a great artist who wrote the song on the road, and he'd opened up for us a few times on some shows." And I said, "Brad, we want to let him perform a song tonight. Is that okay with you guys?" We didn't want to alter the show in any way, but I went to him to clear it, and he goes, "Brian, don't pull a song. Just play an extra song tonight, but let us know when you're going to do it so we can all be side of stage and support. And we want to be a part of this moment." And we surprised Matt and Joliet that night. And to look over and see the entire band just watching that moment and sharing it, and then said, "Do it again tomorrow." And then he looked at me, and we're in Cleveland. I remember in Cleveland in the middle of this tour. He said, "Hey, we're gonna go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." I said, "Well, I took the boys and everyone, the whole crew. We all went there yesterday on a day off." And he goes, "Well, they're gonna give us a little private." And I got to walk into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Three Doors Down and Brad, and standing with them again, sharing stories and see their stuff in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then they took us into a basement, and I have so many memories on this run. And then the last day, February 11th in Detroit, he's standing outside before the show. Hours his sound check. And I see him standing outside the door, and I wanted to thank him. I said, "Hey man, I have something for you. I'll give it to you tonight." And he goes, "I was laying in the bunk last night, and I thought, a perfect tour would be you guys, us, and Daughtry on tour together. How amazing would that be?" And I looked at him, and Ben and I both smiled and said, "From your voice to God's ears, that would be incredible. If that ever happens, great. But this has been a special run, and you are one good dude." And that night, we took some pictures and stuff, and I made a choker. And what was wild was I'm staring at this choker that I made that I never wore. I hung it in my bunk, and I wanted to do something special for him. I never wore this choker. I made it for me. And beautiful beaded choker. And I knocked on his boss, and I said, I knew that morning I was giving it to him. I told him I had something for him, and I knocked on the boss, and I went on, and I presented this to him from us, for taking us out and for completing this circle the first time that he tried to take us out on the road and give us that moment. But the last thing I had in Detroit was, everyone was scrambling to take showers, clean up, all that stuff, and we had fun and did a wrap up. No one can find the photo of all of us on stage, all the crews and everybody together. And I just remember he said, "Hey Brian, use my dressing room. I'll be done with the shower in a moment. Come in and you can use it." And he jumps out and he's getting ready. I go take a shower. We're getting dressed and talking, and I had to ask him, about where he told me about Kryptonite and when he wrote it, that he was a drummer and everything. And then he told me a story about writing the song, Not My Time. And I'm going to cherish all of this. I know this is a long message. This is way too long. But I can't honor somebody that has given me so much, and a friendship I'm gonna miss you, Brad. I'm gonna miss you, man. Last year, it's April, last year. Well, honestly, even a year before that, I said, hey, I have a friend. Her name's Erin Moore, K-Hits, in Alaska. She owns a radio station, and it might as well be called the Three Doors Down radio station, because every hour she plays at least 2 Three Doors Down songs. You're her favorite band. Can I surprise her? Would you do some liner notes or a liner note? You know, hey, this is Brad Arnold from Three Doors Down, and you're listening to, and he goes, of course I will. And not only did he do the one I asked, he did another one for her. And that's how I found out I lost a friend today. She reached out. I woke up to it, and she was sad. And I didn't know what was going on. The one thing he left behind that we can all celebrate him with is his music. My brother left music. He left his music. Just crank it. Celebrate Brad Arnold. Crank his music today, every day. Think about it, what these songs mean to you. I'm gonna miss my friend. Last year was the last time I spoke to him. I surprised him and got him some Randy Couture signed gloves and a photo, because he was such a big Randy fan. And he sent me a car, this die-cast car, NASCAR, signed by the whole band, and I gave it to Randy's his personal assistant who runs the foundation, Val, for her son, and one for Randy to donate at some point. So he gave me 2, and one was supposed to be mine, and I'm like, no, I appreciate it, man, but you know, people love you, and I'm gonna gift this to them. And he said, of course you can. And I'm staring at a poster, Joliet, Illinois, and it's a lion's head with 3 eyes, and it's from the poster that they had in the theater. And he grabbed one, and I grabbed one, and it's Three Doors Down and Elvis Monroe. And he's like, hey, Brian, take this. And I'm like, only if everyone signs it. And they all signed it. And I have it framed right there on the wall. But I surprised him with that. And then maybe a week later, he makes the announcement that he was sick. And the one thing when I messaged him, he said, I'm gonna win, and God's got me. And I know he's everywhere. So, and I know this is very long. I just don't know how to honor him. So, I'm gonna miss you. I love you, my friend. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for all the wisdom you passed on to me. Thank you for your music. Thank you for hitting me back on social media so many years ago. That's where it started. Well, it started with your music. But when you hit me back, I just, yeah, thank you. And we were produced by the same guy. Rick Parisher produced your biggest album, and Rick discovered me in Portland, Oregon, and I always felt honored that we had that as well. We would share Rick's stories, and Rick had since passed on as well. And so we sit and talk about him. But I'm going to sit and talk about you, and I'm going to share these stories for a long time. And I'm just going to post this, and I don't know. I miss you, Brad. Celebrate, Brad Arnold. I love you. See you, buddy. Yeah, baby girl.